Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Eugene. My name is Molly Mae Culligan, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am this morning's worship associate. We gather and worship to find meaning and to live more deeply. Worship creates connections within, among, and beyond us, calling us to our better selves, calling us to live with wisdom and compassion. Whomever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, we are glad you're here. If today is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Right after service, you are invited to our welcoming room, which is located in the south entrance, right over there. And if you are online, the link to our visitor forum is being dropped into the chat now. Rather than printing paper orders of service, you can use your phone to scan one of our QR codes that are scattered throughout the building. There you will find names of authors and composers. You'll find the text to choir anthems and resources in our services. Last month, we welcomed a wonderful group of new members to our church. There was one person missing, though, because she was in the process of moving from Sacramento. Jerry Ray Gray is here today and would like to be recognized. Would you like to come up? Oh, I'm sorry. It's Gary Ray. I'm Molly Mae. So I think we will be good together. Gary Ray. Gary Ray, you have been taking part in worship over Zoom, attending classes and workshops, and now you have made a solemn commitment to this covenant community. We welcome you to UUCE and to Eugene. Welcome. Now, let's take just a few moments to greet our neighbors, especially those we don't know yet. Not at all awkward. They didn't hear that one at all. Today, Josie is going to help me light the chalice. Josie, do you want to come up? There she is. Hi, Josie. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with words from Hafiz, who was a Persian poet born around 1325. Thoreau once called Hafiz a poet's poet. How did the rose ever open its heart and give to this world all its beauty? How did the rose ever open its heart and give to the world all its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. And now, let's say together the words of our mission, which affirm our shared purpose. Empowered by love, we transform ourselves and serve our world.
Thank you so much, Kara. In case you haven't met her, this is Kara Eubanks, who directs the Willamette Violin Academy. Some of her students practice here in our church building, and it is such a joyful noise whenever you all are here. Good Sunday morning, everyone. My name is Jen Youngsun Ryu, and I use the pronouns she and her, and I am the minister at this church. And hello, everybody joining from Zoom. I'm glad you're here too. If you would like to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and this church, the next Inquirers class is going to start next Sunday. That's January the 8th, and it's going to run for 9 consecutive sessions. It's drop-in, right? So you don't have to come to each one of them, but it's a great way to learn more about our faith and about this wonderful community. If you have any questions about it, just visit that welcome room in the South Foyer. So, December is barely over, and the stores are full of hearts. Right? Chocolate hearts, candy hearts, paper hearts. So today I want to talk to you about hearts, but just not that kind of heart. And not the kind of heart that beats in the fleshy bodies of all creatures, great and small. I'm talking about the heart that breaks, the heart that swells with pride, the heart that lifts in song, the one that skips a beat when we see the one we love. But like a lot of things that we talk about here, It's kind of a slippery word and hard to get a hold of. I mean, what exactly is the heart? And why does everyone keep telling us to open it? To live with a wide open heart? Come, let us consider this human heart, this center of our very being. Come, let us worship together.
May the gifts you have offered transform the lives of many. Thank you for your generosity.
I'm dragging a little tail here. All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Ryan Doppelmayr. My pronouns are she and her. And if anyone would like to come up and join me for a short story, I'd be very welcome to have you. We've got some carpet squares here. Make the floor a little cozy. This is just going to be a really short story about a mouse and a crow. All right. Good morning, Wyatt. Good morning, Adeline. Good morning, Josie. All right. So this story, I don't have a book for today. So Kat's going to help me with some pictures. Oh, I'm so glad to see all of you. It looks like we have a little bunny joining us. Fantastic. All right, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Well, once upon a time, there was a crow flying through the air. He was really hungry. And he was looking for a bite to eat. But he happened to look down, and in one of the tallest branches of the trees down below, he found, a scrumptious looking walnut. So he flew down and plucked it off of that tree. And he was thinking, how do I crack this open and get the tasty meat inside? He was so happy to have that snack. But down below on the ground, there was an equally hungry mouse that was looking up and watching what the crow was doing. And that mouse came up with a plan to get a tasty snack of his own, a plan that was not particularly nice. So he called up to that crow and said, "Hey there, crow, how are you today?" And the crow, very excited but not thinking so well, opened its beak and answered, "I'm doing quite well. I have a tasty snack here this morning." But what do you think happened when that crow opened its beak? Down plop went that walnut. But it hit the ground and rolled into a hole. The mouse had not anticipated that. The mouse scurried over, and reached in and grabbed that walnut. But couldn't get it out of that hole. So now, if these two creatures had kind of been thinking together and working as a team, they probably could have come up with a solution to their problem, right? Maybe the crow could have flown down and cracked that walnut up into pieces with its sharp beak, and the mouse could have taken out little pieces for them both to share. But it didn't work out that way. No one ended up with a snack. Because the crow couldn't hold on and the mouse couldn't let go. So so that's our story for today. So holding on, letting go, that's something that people kind of think about sometimes at the start of the new year. Did I say Happy New Year to you all? Happy New Year! How many of you stayed up till midnight last night? Ooh.
Me too.
We did at my house, and my kids are still in bed in their pajamas.
I stayed up accidentally until midnight.
Accidentally?
We have to finish the puzzle.
There's not another story, but here's what we're going to do. Sometimes people like to start fresh with a new year, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes that means they have to let go of something maybe they've been holding on too tight to from the last year. So that's what we're going to do today. So I've got something here that I'm going to let go of, to open up my heart and just let it go. I've had too much, holding on to a little too much fear, I think, last year. So This is something, I don't need it so much this next year. So we're going to put it in the water, and I'm going to let it go.
It just disintegrated. Why did it disintegrate?
And then, letting go, I'm going to set some intentions. I've got something that I want. Oh, shoot. I've got something I want to welcome in more of this year. Okay, so I've got some hope. And take this hope. I have to acknowledge that this is an idea that a lovely lady shared with us that she does with her kiddo at winter solstice. So I'm going to take these hopes for this next year. I'm going to put it in some dirt. And I'm going to plant a few seeds to help it grow. All right. I'm hoping we can all do that this next year. So thank you for sharing that story with me. Are we going to, we might disintegrate some more paper if you join me in the classroom. Yeah. Would you like to do that, Bertie?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. But before we go, I just have a few reminders. If you want to hang out here with your adults and listen to the sermon, you are totally welcome to do that. If you are just joining us for the first time, or if you are less than 5 years old, please have your grown-ups come back with you so we can kind of have a little chat to introduce ourselves. And super important to everyone, even the old-timers here, we want to make sure that we're being very safe and respectful in the hall, so we're going to walk.
There they go. Today's reading is For a New Beginning by John Donahue. I love the sound of children. That's not part of the reading, though. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you have outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again, with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you.
Good morning. My name is Phyllis O'Neill, and I use the pronouns she and her. I'm the youngest of 5, was born 2 months after my 5-year-old brother drowned in an abandoned swimming pool. Needless to say, the whole family was grieving when I entered the world. And while I'm sure that my mother took care of all my physical needs, I think our chance of bonding was pretty limited. I sometimes wonder how all of their sadness helped shape who I am. I learned at a very early age that being quiet and not needing much from others worked very well in my family. I was well-fed, warm, educated, hugged, but stunted in many ways. Not needing meant shutting down a part of myself and not learning how to recognize my own needs. Being on my own and a good girl helped reduce the demands on my mother and brought me approval. I carried that lesson into adulthood. My mother died when I was 27, and my father when I was 36, and I felt the weight of being an orphan. At that point in my life, I had worked my way up in the corporate world to a management position, even though I had not yet finished college. I was valued at my job, so I worked harder. I think the attention fed me in some way, but I soon realized it wasn't enough. I had friends, but I didn't have the depth of connection that I was longing for in any aspect of my life. I was unhappy in my marriage, and as my son entered his teenage years, I felt lost and even more disconnected. When I tried to talk to my husband about our lack of emotional connection, he would respond defensively, and I would walk away thinking, oh, he's right, it's just me. Looking back, I realized he didn't know how to do it any more than I did, and he wasn't too interested in trying. That marriage ended, my son left for college, and I was alone with myself in a way that I had never been before. I was doing therapy and self-help meetings, anything that might help. Then one day a friend told me about a group process she had found that she said changed her life. I needed something to change mine, so I found a new therapist, which led me to the group process and a community to support me on my journey. The work was steeped in meditation and body-mind awareness. I began to notice how I pulled myself together to protect my heart when deep feelings and vulnerability arose. I began to pay attention to my own wants and needs for the first time, and self-care became more important. As time went on and my work deepened, I was able to experience moments of truly open heart, an overwhelmingly vulnerable yet unforgettable experience, a bit like standing naked in front of the world. Even though I long for more of such deep connections, I can find it challenging to live that openly all the time. I have a lot of experience protecting my tender heart. So little kindnesses can touch me deeply. Emmett and I took a walk one morning this past week, and we met a man doing yard work at someone's house. We smiled at him and said good morning, and he responded in kind. And then he called out, "Feliz Navidad," and we both stopped. Excuse me. Turned around with big smiles and offered the same to him. And I noticed the familiar knot in my throat that often comes when I'm touched deeply and I am showing my heart to others. Almost weekly at church, something like this will touch me and tears come. Sometimes it catches me off guard, like now, but I'm grateful for those moments. So I keep bringing myself, noticing when I'm there and when I'm not, forgiving myself for what may be my lack of courage to live that openly, and working to let go of my own self-judgment. So instead of resolutions, I set an intention each new year, renewing my intention to live with my heart wide open. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I fail, but I don't lose sight of the possibilities, and I cherish those times.
Hafiz asks, how did the rose ever open its heart and give to this world all its beauty? Isn't this what the world desperately needs? For each one of us to open our hearts and to share our unique beauty with one another. Imagine a world like this. If you sit quietly and very still, you can feel your physical heart pumping, beating, pulsing. But what about your other heart, the one that Phyllis spoke of? Where is it? What does that feel like? The heart is the home of our emotions. It is the dwelling place of our intentions and our conscience. It is the meeting place of mind and heart and body. Heart is our center. And as our center, the posture of the heart matters a lot. Not only to us personally and to the fullness of life that it can engender, but it matters to us collectively because each one of our hearts houses a unique beauty, the unique beauty of being a human being. And if we can't or are not willing to open our hearts and share our portion of that loveliness, then the world misses out and we are all the poorer for it. What does it feel like to open our hearts? So if I were to ask you to rate from 1 to 10 how open your heart feels right now, with 1 being fairly closed and 10 being wide open, what number would you give yourself? How open is your heart right now? Imagine the posture of your body and mind when your heart is closed. What does that feel like? Does it feel grumpy, like not smiling, not connecting, not relating, not wanting to relate to anybody? For me, it feels like kind of a folding in on myself, wallowing in self-pity, saying that I want to be alone when really, in truth, that's the last thing I want. And now imagine the opposite. Imagine what is the posture of an open heart and mind? What does that feel like? Does it feel light? Does it feel free? Does it feel fearless and happy? Does it feel like connection and belonging? That's how it feels to me. And I want that. I want that. I want a heart that is wide open. And this has been the sole focus of my spiritual life. And it scares the heck out of me. The poet Dinah Rivers prays to love She says, oh love, I pray that you break my heart so wide open that the whole world falls in. The whole world? Wow, that just feels like too much. So much risk, so much danger, so many people who could hurt me again. We all, well, most of us, let me say, a lot of us, start out this life completely open, right? This past Halloween, when we had our trunk or treat, I had the chance to meet this beautiful young person. It was the first time we had met, and so we talked a while, and as she was leaving with her family, she said, "You can come to our house for dinner." When I grow up, I want to be just like her. Gregarious and generous and free. That's exactly what I want for my life. And like I said, most of us are born like this, with this heart wide open. And if we're lucky, we grow up with a safe, caring, dependable relationship in our lives. And we build resiliency in our hearts that allows us to stay open. But some of us didn't get that for one reason or another. We grew up with adverse childhood experiences. We grew up with trauma. Or later in life, something happened to us that just crushed us, and we found that it was easier to just close our hearts. Some of us live under this false belief that the heart is a very fragile thing. It must be protected from other people. We have to close it in, and we have to build walls around it. So maybe we live like that for a while. Maybe we live like that for many, many, many years. But then one day, just like the rose, we feel the encouragement of light against our being. We set out on a spiritual quest. We read some books. We take up meditation. Maybe we find a nice church. Along the way, we realize that open-hearted living is not for the timid, and we understand why poets write about the danger and wildness of the heart. Hearts were designed for risky living, not guarded living. Living with a heart wide open calls us to be brave and vulnerable and trusting and loving. So if you're just starting out on this path, you don't have to dive into the scary parts right away. What are some easy, small things that can set open-heartedness as an intention for your day, for your month, for your year? Phyllis talked about the impact of small kindnesses. And the author Mark Nepo also describes the small things that make a big difference. He describes his quiet morning routine at home. He opens the curtains, he feeds the cat, he makes coffee for his partner. So I'm letting the light in, he writes. I'm caring for another living being. I'm doing something for someone I love. And when I do this with consciousness, I'm fully aware and I don't rush through it. And that sets my open-heartedness for the day. So it can be small, easy things. Even though I've been practicing open-hearted living for decades now, I know that I've got a long way to go still, because it doesn't come naturally to me. And yet I have faith that living with an open heart allows me to be my truest, deepest self, the one behind all those protective layers. And this open-hearted posture also allows me to enjoy deep relationships with other people and brings a gorgeous complexity to my life. But this is not just about individual benefit. It's about all of us. It's about the collective, beloved community that we as UUs imagine and work toward every single day. We already know what the world looks like when people close their hearts. It's crow and mouse all over the place, right? There's little cooperation, little compassion or empathy for others. There's little thought to relationship building or equity or justice. It's just me, and mine. So now imagine what it would be like if everyone in this room, let's say, could spend the next month in an intentional posture of open-heartedness. How would our relationships change? How would we change? You know, I was thinking about all the people who say yes when I ask them to offer reflection from this community pulpit. Phyllis today, Christina Wagner a few weeks ago, and Bob, many others throughout the months. Speaking in front of a large crowd like this requires courage, yes, but there's so much more than that. Speaking from the open heart is an act of trust in you and trust in our faith. Speaking from an open heart is an act of love. And in these times of increasing social isolation and loneliness, we need this kind of modeling of open-hearted living. We need that more than ever. And this is a spiritual community that can offer a safe enough place to practice this. In small groups, in workshops, in classes, in the hallways. I see Dick Lesher back there with his big hat, reminding us that small group connection circles are a wonderful way to practice open-hearted living. Thank you, Dick. So in this brand new year, may each one of you feel the encouragement of light so that you can open your heart and share your unique beauty with the world. May it be so. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Eileen. I miss seeing her right there. I miss her so much. Well, we are doing Burning Bowl this year, and I've got a few helpers. Molly May and Steve are going to be our safety monitors. Fire, one of the ancient elements revered by all the world's religions. It is seen by many as a symbol of divinity. We're going to have big fire today, I can see it. Fire destroys, it cleanses, it liberates, it transforms. And so we use fire on this New Year's Day in our annual Burning Bowl ritual. And in a few moments, I'm going to invite you to come up if you want to participate. There is flash paper here on the table that you can just drop into the flame. Let that paper represent an intention or a promise that you want to make to yourself this year. Let this paper represent something that you want to transform in your life. Let this paper be a prayer that you want to send up. Let it be something that you want to release and let go of. Molly May, could I ask you to light a few of those papers? So first, I'd like to ask you to light one as a prayer for all of those in our community who are going to be undergoing surgery and other medical procedures this week and in the weeks to come. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be at peace. And will you light another one, Molly May? This prayer is for those of you who are taking care of ailing parents, sometimes complicated by distance and family dynamics. May you and your families be well. May you be happy. May you be at peace. And then one more, Molly May, please. This one, a prayer to end war, to end all human-made suffering. May all the peoples of the world be well. May they be happy. May they be at peace. And as you are moved, please come up. May all of your prayers, may all of your wishes, your intentions, may all of your heart be heard and blessed. So let's sing one more time. This one is 331, Life is the Greatest Gift of All. It's a very happy song of praise. I did take liberties, though, with the words. And in the second verse, instead of singing, mind is the brightest gift, it's thought no barrier, I changed it to heart is the brightest gift, love is no barrier. And the slides up here will reflect that change. So please rise in body or in spirit and let's sing together. Life is the greatest gift of all, 331, with some words changed.
Life is the greatest gift of all, the riches on this earth. All of nature's great and small, of high and lowly birth. So treasure it and measure it with deeds of shining worth. Heart is the brightest gift of all, its love no man knows. It seeks creation's hidden plan.
Let's say together our closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now, I know that right after I bless you, you head straight for the coffee, but today I am asking you to consider sticking around because we have one final song from Chris and Bob as our postlude. So, and now, as you go forth into this brand new year, into this sparkling new day, set an intention for your heart so that it will bring you more life and bring greater life to all around us. Go in peace, my friends. Go in love.